grab a playlist of music from hashtag theme6music. Come hang out. Okay. Huh. It says please stand by on my stream. Can you tell me if I'm streaming?
Mm-hmm.
I should be streaming.
Yes, you are streaming.
Oh, it is?
Mhm.
On my screen it says please stand by. Okay, that's fine. Hey Peter Apple. Hello Skepsis D. Hello Vero Claw. How are you guys doing? How's it going, everybody? I'm Drifty from Driftwood Gaming, and I'm joined by my lovely wife T.
Hello.
At least until the baby wakes up.
Yeah.
So, today we're going to be debugging save and load code, but also adding enemy spawners. I couldn't fit all that in the title, really. Let's take a look at the game where we're at right now. So, I've made it so that if you don't have a sword, you can't click and attack. So, the character can't swing a sword if you don't have a sword. So, there's that. Let's press that. Return. So I have some bugs going on right here with the save and load code. As you can see, this is unintended behavior. If I try to load, the character moves around, we hit return, and the character just, oof, things happen. I did make a new room. We could save it, save game, and then load the game, but returning, we'll see, now it seems to be working, but it's not perfectly working right. A couple things. I need to adjust some of my keybinds quickly to allow me to press a button to spawn in my weapons and stuff. If I press insert an L, it kind of goes to the save load room. Actually, this is a problem. Yeah, that shouldn't happen. Press L, it shouldn't immediate load. It should just go to the room. And then when I press S, it shouldn't immediately save. It should go to the room. Either way, saving or loading. Getting cool outside? Yeah, it's raining here now.
It was chilly all morning.
Let me press this, and this, and I've spawned in some stuff to click. So if I left click, I can't swing my sword, but if I have a weapon equipped, it lets me swing my sword. I could take this off. Oh, but wait, that bugs out. I'm like stuck in a loop now. Huh. I thought it would be a quick fix, but so there's a bug there still. When I left click to attack, to take a sword off, I'm not clicking, my guy. Just, he's insta-spamming clicking. That's not intended behavior. Oh god. So let's try to fix this bug. I think we should start with that. This was a recommendation that T said, that's stupid that your character can swing a sword when he doesn't have a sword equipped. So I was like, alright, let me fix it. I put in one line of code and I thought I fixed it. But nope. Apparently, okay. I think I can fix this by disabling the ability to attack while your menu is open. That might be... is that how I want to fix it? It might fix it. It's the way that I can think of, so let's go ahead and start with that. So I'll go into the menu, and I think it's also on the player where I have this, the step. Yeah, so I'm saying if I'm holding a weapon, then the key attack doesn't, so it won't issue the key attack unless I'm holding a weapon. And I hold a weapon when I equip a weapon. And, oh, okay, I see what's happening. all I have to do is set it to false afterwards. Let me see if I say key attack equals false afterwards. Because it's being stuck on true when that happens. So I will spawn in some weapons and put it on. Okay, so yeah, it sets it to false and makes it so that I can't attack. That's not going to fix it. Let's instead say on the menu, on the step of the menu, I can say if menu opened, I should probably handle that on the player. I'll do it right here. I'll say if omenu dot menu opened is true, then key attack equals false. And now it'll swing one time and not get locked, I think. So let's get some swords in here. Got this. Oh, that one's out of bounds, but that's fine. So I left click and I can attack because I don't have a sword on, but now I do, and it lets me attack. But if I open the menu, I can't attack. But if I click on this, yeah, it doesn't swing the sword because the menu, you can't swing your sword when the menu's open. I mean, that's a little more restrictive in that you have to pick your weapons and stuff and close the menu before you can interact. All you can do is dodge while you're in the menu. For now, that's our fix. We'll stay with that. Back to this save load bug. I put in some enemy spawners already, so this will keep spawning right here every about 10 seconds if it doesn't exist. It'll only spawn one though, so it doesn't overwhelm the player. But every 10 seconds or so, if there's no enemy, then it'll spawn one. Also, if the enemy gets too far away, it will spawn another one. So it can have multiple, but the enemy has to wander really far away for that to happen. Another thing is, if the enemy wanders off of the map, the enemy is instantly destroyed, but in a different way that it doesn't give the player any rewards for when it wanders off. So killing it destroys it, but also awards experience. You can see the green bar will fill up. But if it wanders off the map, you won't get any experience. Oh, excuse me. That was satisfying. Alright, so let's test our save code. We have a little bit of experience and we've taken a little bit of damage. I'm going to go up here. This little area is where I have the save code. But I can see that I'm getting this tile map get at pixel error for some weird reason. Is that a Crystallis sprite? It is inspired by Crystallis, that is true. But I hand made it on stream, and it looks kind of jank if you compare them side by side, so don't do that. Let me zoom in. Oh, thank you. I wanted to get the sword to be longer and like thicker, giggity, but it was hard the way that I did it. So it's not as good as the Crystallis sprite, but I did look at the Crystallis sprite as a reference while I was making it. See, when I aim down, I think the sprite shrinks a little bit too much just to make the sword stick out long enough. I kind of feel like they made the Crystallis sprite, and then they also made the sword sprite, and they drew them both. And if I could have started the entire thing over, I would have done the same thing and drew two sprites. Just have them attached or something. But I mean, I'm happy with it. I like it. I think it's good. It doesn't look as good as the Crystallis sprite, but it's in the same theme. The only thing I want to change now is, well, I mean several things, but the thing that I'm thinking about changing right now is, in Crystallis, you could run around and attack and swing at the same time, and that was really fun to be able to run without slowing down while you can just like sword swing like crazy. And I don't have that in here, so I'm going to try to code that. Okay, let's, we have like a full, we're almost level 2, yeah. So I'm going to go save the game, and then I'm going to take some damage and try to load it and see what happens. So I'm going to save the game here, and then return. And then if I go get hit a bunch of times, boom, 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 hit me. This guy will hit harder. Alright, so now let me go in here and press load game and see what happens. I should get my HP back because it was where I was at. Load game. You've successfully loaded your game and it got my HP back to where it was. But I have this little, you see the character flying around. There's some bugs in here still. I tried to deactivate the player, but it wouldn't activate in time, and I would come back and the player, you would have no player. And then I tried to destroy it, but that also didn't, the spawner wouldn't put him back, and I didn't get it. We hit level 2. We need to make an animation for when we level up and do something fancy. Oh yeah, we can't attack with the menu open to get around the bug. Which I'm actually okay with that. You don't want to be playing like this with the menu open anyway, so like, you want the menu open to toggle your gear and look at your stats while you're not fighting, and then while you're fighting you close the menu and get all that real estate back. That's why I made this sidebar too, to help you not have to open the menu. How much HP do I got? Oh, how much, where do I got? What am I, how much is my next level? It's just like right there. Don't do a lot of damage to these guys, do I? Oh wait, there's some weird bug happening here. How is my attack power negative? Excuse me? Wait a minute. Save the game and return. Put this on. Load the game. Save the game. Return. Put this on. Load. I've got a bug somewhere, obviously. Okay. Somehow during the save and load, creating some bug, or maybe the newest changes I did to the menu. What did I change? I made it so that your key attack is false if the menu's opened. Disable attacking while menu open. Thank you, Mike Smith. I'm working on it. It's been about a week since I started it. So I'm trying to figure out what's causing the issue. I mean, it probably has something to do with, the player's stats are held in the menu. That way, if I destroy the player, I can bring the player back, and it shouldn't affect anything. So let me get some weapons. Let me get my weapon on. Okay, so this gives me 10 attack like it's supposed to. Let me press this button and level up. Well, that leveled me up to 20 or to 10. So my attack went up to 23. So then I gained 9 levels. So now they just get smashed on. Boom, boom, dead. Boom, boom. Somewhere along the line, I think it's with the save and load. So let me save the game and return. 33 attack. guess I'll level up again. Okay, so leveling up, I lost attack power. It has to do with the code change when I level. Yeah, that's. Oh, right. Okay. I see what's happening now. This is a fundamental coding error. Instead of adding to a variable, I need to add another. I can't just have player attack. I need to have player attack and then player total attack or something if I'm going to allow things to change those stats. Because when the player levels up, the attack is redetermined. Let's see, when we level up, all of this stuff happens. So it doesn't account for the player's modified attack with the weapon. So the attack is being changed, the player attack is being changed, and this is taking no consideration if the player has a weapon or not. So what I have to do is change the player attack, but then display the player's modified attack and actually calculate the player's modified attack when I do the damage formulas. So, I mean, that's not a big deal. That's not a big deal, but I have to do this for each of these stats. Now I have to figure out what's the best way to go about doing that. Obviously, I need 4 more variables. I'll need player modified attack, player modified defense, modified magic attack. Let's just go so let's initialize those variables. We'll say player modified attack equal, right now we'll say player attack when it's created. Player modified defense equals player defense. Player modified like so, and one more modified. I'm glad I found the bug quick. And then when I display the stats on the draw GUI, I can just have show the modified as a plus to show what the weapon's giving. I think that would look cooler. And change the level up process. So, oh no, not the level up process. Change the equipment itself. So when we equip a sword, instead of adding to the attack, it adds to the modified attack. Player modified attack. Because this, by doing like that, it'll mess it up. When we level up, it'll have an inaccurate value. Player modified attack. Cool. Another good reason to not do all of your items at the same time. Modified attack, player modified attack. I'll have to do the same thing for all of the stats. Player modified defense, or all of the gear. Modified defense. This doesn't alter any of the 4 base stats, so this is fine. Because when you level up, you don't get extra stats like that. Extra poison damage or whatever. That's just special gear that grants that. So right now it's easy. All I had to do was change body armor, the helmet, leather body armor and helmet, and the 2 swords. But we also have to draw the new modified because to show the change of when we're wearing the swords and whatnot. So we'll do another draw text shadow where we draw the text for the attack power, defense, magic attack, and magic defense. So we'll say, let's get a little more room for this. Starting with the attack power, when it shows the attack power, we're going to also include a, for the string, so it's showing attack power, and then what we'll do is say plus, a plus sign, and then another plus, the string value of player modified attack. So we can quickly see our base value and what we're getting from our gear. Then we have to change the attack formula too, which is not a big deal. We just add player modified attack to it. Plus, a plus, and plus the string player modified defense. And then for this one, plus, plus string player modified magic attack. Let me just copy this and just change this to defense. Very nice. Okay, let's see how that looks in the game, and then we'll change our formulas. Hey Boro B, how are you doing? Let's get some gear. Boom boom. This one. So we got gear. Ah. Right. I need to set the modified. Maybe I should have called it player attack modifier. I'm going to keep the names the same. It just doesn't make much of a difference. But what we'll do is instead, since I'm going to show it like this, we're going to set these to 0. I mean, it looks sloppier to me now. I mean, like, yeah. Okay, anyway, we put on a sword, it says 5 plus 10. We know that our base is 5, and we're getting 10 from our weapon. I mean, that's kind of, initially, I didn't like it, but I think later on I'm going to actually like that a lot. Because see, now, I know that my base values are 5, and I'm getting this much from my gear. Now we test, as we level up, our attack power goes up like it should, but when we take off our sword, it's not changing our base attack powers, it just changes the modified, which doesn't change as we level up. So we can level up and not mess up our stats with gear. So we fixed that bug, but our menu looks a little bit different because we got the plus on it, which I think players will figure that out. At first it'll be like, why does it say 23 plus 0? Well, this is your base stat, and then that's your modified based on your armor. I think players can figure that out pretty quickly. Yeah, okay, I'm happy with that. But let's change our attack formula to include the damage bonus of our modified attack. You're awesome. Can somebody help you out with GMS2? Sure. What do you need help with, Bora? Let's adjust those attack formulas. Attack damage formula is our player level plus random range of 0.8 to 1.2 of our base attack. What we actually have to do is inside of here where we have our variance, our main modifier, we need to add another thing. So let's add a second set of parentheses like this. No, wait, like this. Order of operations would tell me that I don't exactly need to do. No, I do, because it would multiply first. So I'm going to say player attack plus player modified attack. And then so it'll add these two up and then multiply that by 0.8. And we do the same thing here. We don't put it here, we put it here. We say player attack plus player modified attack. So it'll add these two up and multiply by that. And it'll pick a number between this to this. And then add the added physical, added fire, added ice, added lightning, and added poison on top of that without multiplying that. That'll be a direct bonus. So now we've updated our attack damage formula, which I think is being sent directly into the object enemy parent object. So let's take a look at the object enemy parent object to make sure that it's calculating the damage properly. Like when we leveled up and I noticed I did 10 more damage, it's also because each player level adds 1 to the damage. So it seemed like the sword that was giving us 10 more damage, but it was really not, and it was our level that was giving us that 10 more damage. So at level 10, we should be hitting 20 more damage if we compare to without the sword. Well, you can't hit without the sword. It should be a 10 difference. But 8 to 12 actually, 8 to 12 difference. Or even more so because it's being added to your base anyway. Enemy damage formula is, we don't have to modify the enemy's attack because the enemies don't level up really, they just have kind of basic stats. They don't have any gear or anything like that. I just changed their stats to like mimic what gear they would have to make it simple. So they all inherit this base number. I'll just say 10. And then I'm just going to make this like the inheritance for all enemies is extremely low. And then since this is the parent object, this is never on the screen. It's just these enemies are spawned with all of this as inheritance, and they just get this code, and then you get the code with, where's it at? It says it not here, but it's like instance inherit, and then you overwrite the values that you inherit for each enemy if you want to change them from the base, which each enemy will have its own stats. But this saves a lot of time by making a parent object, so like every enemy I create, I don't have to type all of this stuff out, you know, it's kind of like a lot to do for each enemy. Of course you copy paste it, but still. Just makes it simple. let's make sure that the damage formulas are being calculated. So it's using the attack damage formula minus the enemy's defense, which we already modified, so that's the enemy's final damage. And then when they get hit, so that this is sort of text pop-up, it's kind of a little bit of redundancy here, but it works for now. I'll worry about the optimization if I have any problems with it. So it looks like their damage is going to be calculated properly now. So where is enemy damage formula being calculated? Enemy damage formula is right here, which its attack is going to be 20% variance on its attack. That's the melee attack, the collision damage basically. I'd consider melee attack is the collision damage, and then the magic attack is like projectiles and stuff like that. And the alarms here are to make it so that the player can't hit the enemy 60 times a second, and the enemy can't hit the player 60 times a second. And the draw is so that we see little text boxes, and if the enemies get out of the room, they're instantly killed. Cool. So that looks like it's working now. The next thing I was thinking about when I noticed the bug there is I wanted to attack at the same time as moving without creating invincibility frames. So what I think I should do, I'm going to try to do in a controlled manner, is take the player state free code and throw it into the attack slash combo, or attack slash. Now, I don't have a combo yet. I'm going to take the player state free code and put it into the attack slash code to see if it will let me move while attacking to simulate that Crystallis fill. Okay, Boros says, I need to buy an asset from the official site, GMS2 site, but they don't allow it unless your account confirmed with bot version of GMS2. Can I give you money to buy the asset for me? I don't think it'll work like that, because then it'll be on my account, Boro. Then it'll just be it'll give it to me, and I don't know if I can give you the asset or give you the asset properly. Wait, you have a cracked version, Boro? Is that what you're saying? I didn't think there was a cracked. Of course, there's a cracked version of everything, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, I can't do that. I don't think so. Let's look at those, the attack free and attack slash states. It's a player state engine. So they're under scripts. Here's our player state free. Here's our player state attack. I'm using, a lot of this is not being used. I just don't want to delete it yet in case I have to look at it again or something or change stuff up. So I just comment it out when I get to that point. So let me put in the player state free code. I think I have to put all of it in or I'll have other bugs too. Even the key attack state, huh? So hold on, let me copy this. And then I'm gonna pasted player state dot free state alright, player state free, I should spell it properly. Pasted player state, oh wait, if I'm just gonna copy the whole thing, I don't need to paste it like that and make it dirty. Let's just type in player state free inside here. This is going to be weird. I don't know. Or underscore free. So we're running the player state free code even when we're on inside the attack slash combo. So is this going to let us attack and move at the same time? Come on. Sometimes I hate the GMS2 layout. Oh, also break. Yeah, from the script. Oh wait, maybe I don't need a break in here. Hold on, let's try it like this. Oh, I don't need a break because it was a switch statement there. Yeah. Oh wait, then it's going to do this. I have no idea what this is going to do. This could crash or endless loop. I don't know. It's weird. Let me get some weapons. Let's put a weapon on. So yeah, what happens is I stay in the attack. It's like I clicked one time and now I'm just attacking constantly, and I cannot escape from attacking. I cannot not be attacking. But the upside is I am moving and attacking at the same time. It's not our desired output, really. Let's try this. Okay, what if I don't run the entire thing? Clear state free. What if I run everything but the last if key attack state player attack slash? I'll put a line to see where I was at. Like so. So I know it's all in there. Let's see what happens. It does the same thing. So it locks me in the attack. It basically it forces both of them to be running at the same time. So I am attacking and moving at the same time, but I cannot not be attacking once I've triggered it to go. Because it loops. It's just an endless loop. So I'm wondering what I have to take out of this code.
I made something for your enemy spawner.
Huh?
I made you something for your enemy spawner.
Oh, cool. I could use that as an enemy, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I was hoping that would work. Of course, that's a sloppy way to handle it. By the way, I don't use the cracked version, says Boro. Everything is legal. I just found a way to run GMS2 without breaking their defense system. I don't understand what that means, but I do understand that you're all legit. So, what do you mean, run it without breaking their defense system? What does that even mean? You know, I'm going to back burner this idea until I can think of another method, because I'm just kind of banging my head against the keyboard right here. So I'm going to delete this code out all the way down until I have this. Boom. So we're back to where I was. Let's make sure that whatever I did, I undid properly. So I can walk and can't attack with the sword. I get a sword, I can put the sword on, I can attack and I can move, but I still can't attack and move at the same time. Okay, let's level up and test. Level up with the sword equipped and then take it off and make sure that our damage our attack doesn't die. I think we fixed that, right? We've decided that was fixed. So we got to move back to fixing the save load bugs. Essentially it works, but there's some bugs with the player getting out of bounds when you're loading it sometimes. I got to figure out what's causing that and fix it. The spawners seem to be working pretty well. So we leveled up, our attack power went up. It should go up 2 per level, 1 defense, 1 magic defense, 2 attack power, and 3 magic attack, because obviously if we're going to spend our resources, our attack should be strong. And yeah, and that's fixed, so that's looking good. Let's go here. See, we've got this bug. You can see it's trying to, like, it has to do with tile map collision that I've got going on, and on this map, even though I put bounding boxes, I didn't put the collision bounding boxes in until this bug happened. I thought if I added the bounding boxes, it would fix that. Hello, Nick Sent. How you doing, my man? So we can save it, save our game. You can see the character, his alpha is 0. He's still here, but like now he flips out and bugs out. So okay, we saved it. We can load. Our character's there again. The image alpha hasn't been set to 0 as it was done through the transfer event. We hit return. Our character's there, and you know everything is legit. Oh, wait a minute. It's not saving. Oh, well, I know why it's not saving the character. That was our bug too. That was another bug. Is it's not saving our modified because in our save system, let's look at our save code. So we got save string to file, load JSON to file, call save game, load save game. So I have to update this for every new variable I create if I want it, if it's something that needs to be saved. And this was a variable I created on the object menu. And it was down here, player attack. So I have to go like this, copy here, dsmap add. In this dsmap, I want to add player modified attack is the key for player modified attacks. So now I save the state of this variable and using this key inside of a DS map that's in a DS list that's in a bunch where it's a lot of DS lists inside a DS map. It's crazy how the save system works, but it's really good. It uses JSON and it saves variables and objects, and it saves all of those things into a DS map, and then the DS map is saved into a DS list. And then you have several DS lists, and all of those are put in a DS map wrapper that's encoded into a JSON and saved to a file in your computer. And then you load it, it does the opposite. Using keys, it accesses the value and the state of that variable. But because I just added this variable, and then we saved, and it's going to report it as 0. So if it's plus 10 and we save it and we load, Well, at that point, it doesn't have it. It doesn't have it in memory anymore because it wasn't told to save it. So when I take it off, the code to subtract 10 is going to make the player permanently lose 10 because it doesn't remember that we added 10 when we put it on. So I have to do the same thing for defense, the 4 new variables I added. Every time I add new variables that need to be saved, basically I have to go into my save game and my load game code and make sure that those variables are saved and loaded into a DS map, which is in a list, which is in another map wrapper, which is saved to a JSON on your computer. Player attack, player hard modified attack. Player defense, player modified defense. Player magic attack. Player magic attack. Player modified magic attack. Player modified magic attack. I gotta make sure the spelling's right because if I try to access the wrong key, it won't work. Player magic defense. Player magic defense. One more. Player modified magic defense. Player modified magic defense. Did I do anything else? Did I change anything else? Okay, so that's the save. Now we go to the load code, and we also have to make sure to say take it from the information on the JSON and put it back into the game. So it's under menu. So where we have player attack, we say player modified attack equals underscore map bracket question mark player modified attack, like so. I'm going to just copy this, put it down here for defense, change the attack to defense. Defense. Do the same thing for magic attack. And double checking, that's correct. Spelled correct. Modified defense. That's spelled correct. Spelled correct. And it looks like it's spelled correct, so we save that. And that's really all I had to do. So let's double check. Let's do it again. Let's get a weapon. Put on the weapon. See that it says +10. Save the game. Oh yeah, we have to load the game. Load the game. So now we return. We take it off, and it works fine. It doesn't say 0 with it on, and we take it off, and it goes to -10, like it was doing. So we fixed it. So the save and load works. But we have a little bug with the player and the collision when I enter the save room. And you have to save and load from the same room. That's one thing that with this system, it's the save and the load has to be in the same instance, in the same room. It could be just the way that I'm doing it. Driftwood, I'm doing good. How are you? I'm doing great. Doing really good. Thank you so much, Nick. Limitations for trial versions. Oh, so wait, you're using a legit trial version with your computer locked in March. So you're tricking the software into thinking you're still using a legit trial version. I mean, that's one way to do it, Borrow, but that's kind of a hassle, you know? Seems like that's a temporary fix, right? Yeah, I would say just for the assets, before you spend your money buying an asset, save your money and then buy like a license. And then after you have the license, try to get assets. And I tried to destroy the player here so that, you know, he's not on here to have a problem. But it's a persistent object, I believe. I think I made it persistent. We can close this now because we fixed that bug. Isn't it still on sale? It sounds like the biggest sale I've ever seen it do. It's usually only 20% off, and I think it was like 33% off. I don't know if it's still 33% off. Let me see. GameMaker Studio 2. Let's see where it's at right now. Get GameMaker. Developer from 99. Nope, it's not on sale right now. Or maybe I saw it on Steam. Was it on Steam that was doing that? Game Maker Studio 2. No, it's not on sale anymore. This is the one you want, the desktop one. It was on sale. That's a shame. It was like $65 or something. Yeah, it's not on sale anymore here, but it was. It'll go on sale again, but it'll probably be 20%. Who knows? Maybe it'll do 33% again. You feel like you're a smartass, so you're gonna hold on. It works, I guess. You have a never-ending trial, but you also. Your computer is locked into what, March? That's kind of crazy that they store that code on the not the. I keep wanting to say remote computer, but it's like your computer. It's crazy that they store it on the local computer and not on a server for like the dates and stuff. They'll probably fix that eventually. So we still can attack and walk at the same time. That's something I want to get done. And I want to figure out what's happening with the character when I load. Because the transfer event right here, let me close this so I don't mess with it. Here's the player. The transfer event, which we'll take a look at, is a simple event, and what it's saying is it's using a green box sprite, but it's not marked as visible, so you don't see it, but I see it in the, like I see it as a green transfer event box here, so I know where it's at when I'm like, I know that there's a transfer event there, but the player doesn't see a green box because I have it not visible. And the hitbox is the full circle, and I can resize that, or the full square. So as soon as the player touches the green box, because we're using this event, when the player collides with this hitbox, hit mask, collision mask, then it runs this code and it says, with the player, make it invisible and put its X and Y at this location. Let's try to not mess with its X and Y. And actually, I'm not going to have it do anything. Like, what happens if I tell it to do nothing? In fact, if I'm going to do it like that, it makes more sense to just go like this. So all it's going to do is transfer the player to the room save load. see what happens. Boom, we're in save load, and you see it put the player up there, but like I'm still, when I walk around, it's like as if every tile map get at pixel couldn't find a specified tile map. So it's probably in my collision code. So I don't necessarily need to do anything here, because saving and load will bring it back anyway. So, and the collision code is being handled for me in the player state free. So let me take a look at what's happening. Tile map get at pixel. Tile index mask. Tile index mask. I kept thinking there was... Hold on, let me try to... So I selected a tile set for it after it didn't work. And the collision layer, I set it up. Like originally I didn't have these layers, and I thought that was the problem, and no matter what, even though I have these tile layers and now I've assigned them tile sets, it's giving me the same like tile set bug. Boom. Tile map get at pixel couldn't find specified tile map. So on the player, tile map get at pixel, it can't find, it'd be tile ID. So where is tile ID being defined? Let's see, go to the player. Tile ID is being defined here on the player. Layer, tile map, get layer ID, layer ID. Wait, and that's being defined when the player is being created. What if I take this variable and this variable, and I go to the step and I include them inside the step? I mean, unfortunately, this is going to make it do this 60 times a second every second, which is not what I need it to do. I just need it to do this. What if I put it in the creation code? It's going to wonder where... Hold up. Let's just see what happens if I put this right here. Because it's going to redefine the tile map every time. See, now it works. Again, it feels fine, but I'm thinking that's just terribly unnecessary for it to process 60 times a second. What if I just process this once? Inside the save load creation code. So let me go to save load creation code. Boom. And then maybe I say oPlayer dot tile ID. You can't. Oh yeah, you can. You can make a variable. Layer ID is that, and then I can just say boom layer ID. I mean, essentially this could be one line if I put this in there, but it's cleaner like that. So now it's just going to run once when I enter the room. And that works too. That works beautiful. Now it's not running that code 60 times a second. It's just running it every time I enter a map. So essentially, what I have to do is put this on every room's creation code. That way it lets me just do transfer. So I fixed it. I found the bug. let's take this and go to, not the title, but every other room. Now I didn't have to do it on this room because the player was starting in this room, but if I don't start the player in this room, then I'm going to need that code in there. Not open, you big silly Billy Gumdrop. Okay. Hey, we fixed it, I think. Let's see. So what I could do is make the player's alpha 0 on this map, and then on the return make the player's alpha back to 1. So that the player, you don't see the player. I mean, it's not like it bothers me a lot, but it does feel a little weird that you can move the player around on the save screen. Doesn't it feel weird? I feel like that shouldn't be a thing. Not that it changes it at all. Save the game, load the game. You can see it loads you back to where you were at. Return. Everything is still where it left off. We don't have any bugs. Let's go in here and just save the game and return. Let's go in here and just load the game, return. Another problem is, well, there's only one save file. So what if you start a new game and you go to load your game and instead you hit save? There goes your entire game. So I do want to have, when I click save game, something else to pop up and say select save slot. And then when you select the save number, it says, are you sure you want to save? Yes or no. It'll say saving will overwrite any existing data. Are you sure you want to save? And you say yes or no. So you save the game, it'll be like a list of slots, like 0 to 10 or something, like probably 9. And I'll just have them out like that. Boom, boom, boom. And inside the box, I want to have a timer that keeps track of how long the player's been playing the game. In fact, why don't we try to make that timer now? Let's put the timer... Where should we put a timer, anyway? We could put it... We have some space right here. We could just put... we don't actually have to say timer or game time. We can just put a timer there and people are going to understand, oh, that's how long I've been playing. So essentially the save and load works. I'm going to center this text a little bit. I'm going to bring it down a little bit and to the right a little bit. I mean, it's centered, but the boxes are off because they're set to the top left instead of middle. So the boxes are to the right a little bit, which is okay because I want more room for the save slots. Fixed bug is like a micro victory every time. Yeah. Yeah, the tile map one was causing me some anxiety. So now I just want to make saving and loading more convenient. It works perfectly fine now. As far as I know, there's no bugs. I'm sure I'll find more bugs. Oh, it's going to be cool when I start designing bosses. I can see it now. I'm going to have bosses do like lightning bolts and kind of like bullet hell-y things. And at first I was like, I should zoom the camera in more so that I can like... But the problem with that is when you want to make a bigger boss or like a bigger battle arena, you can't see very well if you're too zoomed in. So I feel like this is zoomed in just enough. Like I feel like the sprite could be, like, you know, the camera could be zoomed in a little bit more. But what this will let me do is have bigger battle arenas. Like I can have more on the screen, a bigger boss with more projectiles, and you can see more so you can react better and whatnot. I need to pop in a weapon so that I can kill this guy. Scum! You dirty purple scum! Get stabbed. Yeah, feels good. Feels good, man. We took a ton of damage. Let's load the game. Let's load back to where we were at. There we go. Okay, also the return, I don't like how it puts me all the way on this bottom. I'm going to have the players X and Y be more right here. So let's see, 32, 64, let's say 128 across, and then 128 down. 128, 128, okay. That's easy to fix. I go to the button that's controlling the transfer, which is a back button. I wish it would just keep the text boxes open so I don't have to double click them constantly. So X should be 128, and then Y could also be 128. Let's see where it puts us now when we leave. Let's load our game. Hey, it loaded us. Let's return. Puts us down right there. That's a little far. Maybe 96, 96. Yeah. What I could do, since I'm setting the player's alpha back when I take them out, I can make the image alpha of the player 0. So all this needs to do now is just take you to the room. That's it. This is the save, transfer to the save load, and I just put this like on a little save crystal or something. You know, obviously I'm not going to use the save crystal, but so right here I would say oPlayer.image alpha equals 0. So when the player is loaded into this room, the player's invisible, and you don't see the player moving around. There is an invisible player moving around, but you won't notice it. You don't know where he's at. And there's a collision bounding box all the way around the edges, so the player won't run out of the room, really. Not that it would matter anyway, but we can say load our game and return, and we're back there. It feels really good. Feels really good. I need to inform the player on how to do a few things, but I don't want to explain too much. I need to let the player know that they can press escape, and escape will let them see a lot of information. I think just letting the player know about the escape button would really help a lot, because you can't even attack until you like open up your menu and equip your weapon. I also need to maybe let the player name themselves. I feel like that's a good thing to include. So I want to add a timer. I should write this stuff down. Timer, game timer, add/show game timer. What else did I just say? Let the player name, give player name, so that like a text input, let the player type a name into a text box and then have it appear, store that into a variable, add that to the save code, and display it somewhere on the menu. What's up, Skepsis? I also need to make a lose condition. The player can currently take damage down past 0, and his HP just says negative something something. So that's not exactly the behavior I'm wanting. When you level up, it fully heals you. So when we leveled up, so we're level 2. Let's go save the game, close the game, open the game, and see if it loads everything properly. So we're going to save it, and then we're going to close the game. Now I'm going to just run the game again and load it. So the problem there too is when we load the game, oh, I know how to fix it though. Just set image alpha to 0 when we load the game as well on the button. Or let the player just, I don't know, I feel like the player will accidentally, there's more room for mistake. There's not much you can do.